will say though, the most difficult part was, and it was so embarrassing, there are actually some interesting like cognitive effects that it has as well. My biggest like issue with Turner syndrome in my adult life has been, hey guys, my name is Amy Cimorelli and I have Turner syndrome. With genetic testing, people can figure out with their child if they have Turner syndrome while they're pregnant. So I wanted to make this video, especially if you're like worried about that and you're Googling it because you're trying to figure out what it even means for your child, about having Turner syndrome and telling you guys what my experience has been like having it. So first of all, what is Turner syndrome? So as a female, you have an X and an X chromosome, but when you have Turner syndrome, what happens is one of the X chromosomes can either not copy into any of the cells, like the other one. You have one, but you don't have the other, or it can copy into most of them, but not all of them, or it can copy into all of them, but it can be like a little messed up or part of it's missing or something. So that's kind of like the broad definition of it. It's a little bit hard to explain because it's so intricate and personal to each person that has it. Like the genetic testing is going to come out differently for each person because it doesn't show up the exact same. So I've met a lot of women with Turner syndrome, which is really cool, especially because it's only like 1 in 2,000 women have it. And there's a very wide range of how a Turner syndrome can show up in you. So I have what's called mosaic Turner syndrome, which is a term that actually can apply to a lot of different genetic abnormalities, I think, but it basically means that I'm one of the ones whose X and X are in a lot of the cells, but they're not either A, perfectly copied, or B, in all of them. I'm not actually sure how my Turner syndrome like manifested in that way. I mean, I could probably get retested and see, but I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, I'm on the mosaic, I've been told I'm the mosaic side. So when I was a kid, I stopped growing really at like 4 or 5, somewhere in that vicinity. And that was like really shocking because my siblings are all very tall. They were very like big children usually, and so like not growing is like, you know, not in the normal, but also like it's not normal to not grow. So my mom was like, something's a little off because she's not growing. Like children grow, you know, like a plant, it happens. So I don't remember a lot of this because as we know, I was 4 or 5. But I don't know if that's when she started taking me to get tested for things or when she noticed it, but I didn't get diagnosed until I was 9. So it took, if she started then, which I'm not exactly sure, it took a few years to figure out what it was because it was like pretty rare. And I don't even think my doctor, like my pediatrician, knew exactly what it was when I was diagnosed either. I remember some of the tests, maybe like after getting diagnosed, like I remember taking a hearing test and all these like random tests, but I don't remember actually being told that I had it at all. Like I literally can't remember it. But I got diagnosed when I was 9 and they put me on growth hormones. So I worked very hard to get to 4'10" and I was on growth hormones until I was 13. 13 is when I stopped growing, or maybe 14. 13 or 14. They were like, yep, you're done. That was like the biggest challenge, especially as a kid, was doing the growth hormones. Because a lot of my tests came back like I didn't have like the heart abnormalities or things like that. I was pretty chill. I just wasn't growing was really my main issue. So it was a lot as a 9-year-old to have to like give yourself a shot every night. Well, my mom gave it to me at first and then I started giving it to myself after a while. But I remember it was literally terrifying and horrible and I hated it. So if you are on growth hormones or any type of thing where you have to give yourself a shot every night and you're a parent of someone that has to do that, I do feel for you. I really do. I feel for the parent, I feel for the child, because it's really not fun. And I literally remember being so horrified and terrified. Like it's kind of like burned into my brain. Like I hated shots, but now I'm like, oh, I'm fine with needles. But it's scary at first. So just know that going in, you will get used to it. After like a little while, I was doing it myself. Like, and it was not a big deal. So just know that. You will get used to it. Besides like the growth hormones, and I had to go to the doctor every year for it just to keep things in check, I didn't feel like it really like affected my day-to-day life because I didn't have a lot of the things that people can have with it because I had a mosaic case. So it was pretty like chill for me, although I did go to the doctor. I had a lot of random health issues like asthma and Turner syndrome and stuff like that. So I was in the doctor pretty frequently, but it wasn't too bad. It was just kind of like, oh, I have this thing that I have to go to the doctor for, but like luckily it's like I don't have a ton of issues with it. So that was good. It wasn't like a huge thing for me. I will say though, the most difficult part was being really short. Genuinely, like, I hated being short. I hated it because everyone was so much taller than me, and I thought that I looked like weird, which is so like, it's just such a kid thing to think and such a like insecurity to have, because like, once again, my siblings, especially the women in my family, are very tall. They're all above average, and I was very severely below average, and that was a very difficult thing for me because I hated being different. I didn't like how I looked in pictures with my siblings and my sisters, like, for the longest time, even until I was like older, like an old teenager. Like, I remember looking at pictures and being like, ew, no offense to myself, you know. But like, I was like, I look like a literal potted plant, and they're all redwoods, and it was so embarrassing. I thought I was like stuck out so much, especially when Lauren and Danny got a lot taller than me. Then it was just like, I can't, because I was so different. But you know, over the years, I've learned to embrace that. Well, maybe not embrace it, but deal with it. I'm not like, oh, I love being short, but I'm not like, oh, I hate it. I'm very neutral about it. It's just like part of my life. You know, you grab a chair and you get what you need. So that's like where I've come to on that side of the journey of like the insecurity part about that. I've noticed that a lot of people get really worried about the webbed neck possibility as one of the like outcomes of this disease or genetic condition, I guess. And I think that I have seen a lot of girls with Turner syndrome, and A, it's not really that noticeable from what I've seen, and B, it's really not like everyone has it. So it's not like a guarantee. And also, everyone is beautiful. Every neck is beautiful, okay? So let's just like be positive with that too, because it's like, what are you gonna do? People have a lot of things like that in life, you know? I didn't know this until I went to like the National Conference of Turner Syndrome, which I did speak at, which was pretty cool, and I was very nervous. There are actually some interesting like cognitive effects that it has as well, and I don't exactly know why they happen, but I just know that there are cognitive effects, and Turner's women can have like learning issues or emotional issues or like mental health issues more. So that was something that was very interesting to me, and it made a lot of things about like my mental state or like my, shall we say, certain weaknesses with like spelling make more sense to me, because I'm like, okay, that did check out. It checked out. That is a very interesting thing to look more into if you have it. And if you have a daughter that does have it, that is a really interesting thing to look into. And I will have some links below from the Turner Syndrome Society of America website for you to look into. But also, you know, your doctor will look into it with you too. So really into adulthood, there's nothing really different about my adult life from this. I know a lot of girls that I like met and talked to and stuff, their parents and them were nervous about them like driving especially, but I will say, you know it took me a sec to get my license, but I did it. And you just get a little, what is it called? Pillow, and then you can see, but you can do it. There's a lot of things that I think people get nervous about with like some of the cognitive things and other things, but like I haven't really had a ton of difficulty in those areas, like having a life, like a normal life. Like I have definitely had to like work hard to like, you know, with my mental state, and I worked very hard getting my license because it was scary. But like in general, there isn't really a ton of interference with my life from this. I'm pretty chill with it. I have a career, I have a lot of friends, I live on my own. There's like challenges for sure, but every child, every person has challenges. Like I think that people get scared like, oh my gosh, my child's gonna have these challenges, which is true. There are challenges, but every child is going to have challenges regardless of whether or not they have Turner syndrome. Like challenges with everything under the sun. We all have challenges. We all have like suffering and weaknesses and strengths. Like every child is gonna have an issue in some way, and this just might be the issue that your child is going to work through and work with in their life. So like don't be worried in that way, because you and your child are both strong enough to do that and to have a good life and to work with the issues. One of the best things about the Turner syndrome community, I would say, is that there's a lot of support. There's a huge network of women that have Turner syndrome and parents and a lot of stuff from all over like the world and the country. Like you can find support in this for sure, and people that understand, and I will have some links below for that as well. Like Turner Syndrome Society of America is like a very big resource for people that are dealing with it, and it's really great to know that there are so many people that are going through the same thing as you that can help you through and and like deal with things, and like parents can get connected, kids can get connected. You know, I think it's like a really great blessing within this like community. My biggest like issue with Turner syndrome in my adult life has been hormonal issues and things like that. And I do keep everything in check. Like I go to the doctor and get everything checked because there are risks for different things. But I do feel really lucky that that is the one area that I have had issues with, and there are a lot of other areas that I haven't. And if you do have these other issues that I'm not experiencing, like I do feel for you, and I do pray for all of you guys all the time. Anyone who's experiencing any kind of thing like that, any kind of physical or mental struggle, like I'm praying here for y'all, because it's definitely a lot to handle and juggle and deal with, but do it, and we do it together. So I would like to say to all of you who have Turner's, and honestly any sort of chromosomal abnormality or issue in general, genetically or whatnot, it's gonna be okay. We are strong, we are fierce, we're getting through this day by day. And yes, we do have struggles, and it is really tough, and it is really difficult to feel different, and just like it can get lonely when people don't understand stuff like that you go through, and I totally get it. It's a difficult path to walk, but you can walk it, and you're strong enough to walk it, and you deserve to give yourself the chance to walk it and to really just go for it in your life and do all the beautiful and wonderful things that you're made to do and want to do and love. Okay, you deserve great things in life. And to all the parents that have figured out that their children are gonna have Turner syndrome, I just want to say I know that it's scary, and I totally get it. It can be really difficult when faced with a diagnosis of any sort, but especially one like this. And I just want to say that you are gonna get through it. You are strong. Your daughter's gonna be very strong, and there's so much goodness that comes from all of these situations. God really does redeem everything, and your child and your daughter is still beautifully and wonderfully made, and everything will be okay, even through a lot of doctor's appointments and a lot of different things that are scary and tough and like difficult. I totally recognize that, and it is a difficult road, but I am confident that with your love and your strength and just being there, you will all make it through, and at the end of the day, everyone will be okay, and everything will be okay. Just know that you can get through this. And if you have a child struggling in general with anything, or if you're struggling, you'll get through it and you will be okay. That's what my message. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to sit with me today and to be here while I like share this, because I don't really share it that often. It is pretty vulnerable, you know, and I have issues with vulnerability sometimes, but I'm really grateful you guys are here and just going through this with me and taking the time to listen and learn more about something that you might not know about. I really appreciate you being here and praying for you all. Once again, I'm trying to find some good links that I could put below. Love you guys, and I hope you have a great day because you deserve it. See ya. Bye. What are they called?
Chromosome.
No. Child thing.
Fetus?
Yes.
You grab a chair and you get what you need. Dash Amy Cimorelli.
It's
Can we
true.
put that on a shirt?
Yes, we can.
Or a phone case?
I'm all dry because I just coughed a bunch.
Do you want water?
Yeah, I have water in somewhere.
Why
I
don't
think
we-
it's in there. Let me.
Yeah, let's do that.
How to not feel hopeless in life regarding romantic relationships.
It's gonna change, and you gotta embrace where you are.